This is ABTV, Animal Bites Television. For animal lovers, by animal lovers.
Hey, I'm Baddest Tim, and today's episode is going to be all about these alligators. Alligators live in the southeastern United States. Throughout their range, they are the largest predator. They live in virtually every type of body of water. Alligators are just all around awesome. Now, to give you an idea about how tough alligators are, really only about 13% will survive to adulthood. So basically, the adult alligators we see today, they're the toughest, the baddest alligators out there. They're the ones that could survive. So we're gonna cut back to an alligator that I saw a while ago, and he was just a really cool alligator, so check him out. Now, it's not uncommon for alligators to fight over territory, but this guy right here has tons of scars all over him. And these scars kind of tell a story about the individual. You can tell he's been beat up a lot, and I don't know how the other guy looked, but this guy definitely has a lot of scars. There's that damage to his nose where it looks like he has an underbite there. But he's just a really beat up alligator. But the amazing thing is he survived despite all these big gashes and scratches and half his nose being bit off. He still survived and he's doing well. He's up here basking in the sun, not really worried about anything. This is a very confident alligator, and he knows if anything tries to attack it, he can ward it off with those big teeth, and it's just pure strength there. Now, being cold-blooded animals, these guys have to thermoregulate. So what he's doing right now is he's sitting out in the sun, basking, getting that warmth from the energy of the sun. And now, what they do is, because they can't warm the belly of their body, what they do is they force blood into the very top here. There's these bony scoots just underneath the surface, and they put the blood up in there. When that blood warms up to a temperature they like, they'll distribute that blood throughout the entire body, and so they have this blood flow so that they're bringing all that warm energy from the top of their body around throughout their body where it might be cooler. Now, the way their head is configured is absolutely perfect for their lifestyle. You'll notice right up here on the top is his eyes, right behind the eyes are his ears, and right at the very front is his nose. So he's got this huge body, and so he can come up under the water, surface with just those three senses on the very top, surface with those three senses, check out, smell, look around, and listen. And then he can go back under and hardly be detected at all, because the bulk of his body is going to stay hidden just beneath the surface of the water. You've got to always be listening when you're in the woods, because as I'm coming down this path, this little pond right here, I glanced in it and I don't really see anything, but I was listening, and what I heard, it was the sound of baby alligators calling to the mother. And these alligators back here are hatchlings. They hatched out this year, and they're absolutely tiny and just adorable little creatures. We're gonna hang out with them despite the flies and the mosquitoes, but I'm excited to find this. This is what I've been waiting for all day. And so that's why it's really important that when you're out hiking, you always take different routes, go different ways every single time, because you never know what you're gonna discover. And that's what this is all about. It's all about discovering, finding new things. And so I was lucky enough to chance upon this little pond, and it's full of baby alligators. So check this out. This is a velvet ant. And what a cool creature right here. That's pretty wild right here. I'm gonna set it back down though. Alright, so their mama's probably back in there somewhere, but she's more than likely underwater right now just because it's so hot, and the majority of this pond is in open sunlight, so she's probably staying at the bottom where it's nice and cool, and the babies are hanging out in the shade right over here. So this is just really cool. Now, the babies are calling. They're going, ow, 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 ow. And when they make that call, they're calling for their mother to protect them, because at this age, they're very vulnerable. So what's happening here is the mother's not responding at all. I haven't even seen the mother. Basically, what's going on is these little guys are calling wolf. They're calling too much, and she's ignoring them. So until all of them start calling like crazy, when something's in there splashing around, attacking, that's when mama's gonna come up and take care of whatever predator is harassing her babies. But this is just too cool. I mean, these guys, they look a little bit fat actually, and so they may be fat off their egg yolks still. But this is really neat. You can tell the different personalities. There's some that are really cautious, and some that are far less cautious. For example, there's one right over here sitting on the shore, and this one isn't moving along. Most of the others are kind of making their way further away from me, and they're back in those thick bushes where they're going to be more protected. But this one's sitting right on the shore. So that one that's a lot more daring is doing something that all the others aren't. So that sets it apart. Now, this is either going to be a good thing or a bad thing. If it's a bad thing, that individual will not survive. If it's a good thing, he will survive. And so with alligators, they don't have a very high survival rate. Most of the alligators we're looking at right now are going to die before next year. And that's really unfortunate, but that's just kind of how an alligator's life goes. You lay a lot of eggs, only a fraction of those hatch. The ones that hatch, those babies, only a fraction of those live to the next year. And then after about 5 years or so, 5-year-old alligator is gonna have a much better survival rate than all these younger ones. Well, thanks for joining me on this episode of Primitive Tim. It's so important to remember that alligators are creatures that need to be respected. So the big one at the very beginning, that was an exception to many alligators. Most alligators just take off. They have a very healthy fear of humans. This one has never been hunted in its whole life, and it knows that it's protected from humans. This specific animal knew that I was not going to harm it or harass it in any way. And it turned out he was a really cool alligator, so as long as we maintained that mutual respect, the alligator and I got along fine. But I certainly wasn't going to push that situation any further. So thanks for joining me. I hope you guys learned a little bit about alligators, and until next time, find a new way to appreciate nature.
I've been diving with sharks for 14 years. All kinds of sharks. Yep, even that one. But I'm not here to convince you to like sharks. I'm here to ask questions.
This is ABTV.